Rebirth in the Rain-Soaked Years. Chapter 1. The smell of damp wood and cheap tobacco filled his lungs before his eyes even opened. Shen Yuchen lay still, not moving, not breathing too loudly. His gaze fixed on the cracked ceiling above him, where a thin line split the plaster like a scar. The faint yellow light leaking through the window carved shadows across the room, just as it had that night. His fingers curled slightly. So, this is it again. The moment he regretted the most. A bitter smile almost rose to his lips, but he suppressed it. In his last life, panic had devoured him the second he woke. He had shouted, struggled, cried, dragging both himself and another person into ruin. This time, he would not move rashly. This time, he would think. A faint rustling sound came from the side. Then, a low, rough voice broke the silence. "You still dizzy?" Yuchen's lashes trembled. That voice. Slowly, he turned his head. By the window sat a man with long legs lazily stretched out, one arm resting over his knee. Smoke curled faintly around him, the dying end of a cigarette glowing between his fingers. His features were sharp, almost harsh under the dim light, eyes dark and unreadable. Shu Yan, the village's most feared hooligan, a man whose name alone was enough to silence gossip. In his past life, this was the beginning of his destruction. Yuchen stared at him quietly. Alive, whole, not yet broken, not yet ruined because of him. "I'm fine," Yuchen said softly. His voice was calm, too calm. Shu Yan raised an eyebrow slightly, clearly catching the difference. "Doesn't look like it. You were out cold." Yuchen didn't respond immediately. His mind was already moving, cold and precise. The situation was exactly the same. Drugged, locked in a room, alone with Shu Yan. Outside, sooner or later, someone would open that door, and when they did, there would be people outside, watching, judging, condemning. Shu Yan flicked the ash from his cigarette. "So, you planning on screaming that I forced you?" The air turned colder. In his past life, that exact sentence was the beginning of everything. Yuchen met his gaze steadily. "No." Shu Yan stilled. For the first time, his expression truly changed. "Then what?" he asked slowly. Yuchen's fingers tightened against his sleeve. In this world, a girl and a man being alone is only unforgivable if it's improper. But if we are already engaged, then it becomes private. Shu Yan's gaze sharpened. "You think people will believe that?" "They don't need to believe it completely," Yuchen replied. "They just need doubt." His mind worked quickly, laying out every piece. "I was originally from the Sen family, you know that. Even if I've been sent away, my name still carries weight. If I say there was a prior arrangement, done quietly, it won't be impossible." Shu Yan's fingers tapped lightly against his knee, thinking, calculating. "And me?" he asked. "You think they'll accept a hooligan as your fiancé?" Yuchen looked at him, really looked at him. In his past life, this man was crushed under rumors and violence, but now, he was still standing at the beginning. "You're not just a hooligan," Yuchen said quietly. "Not forever." Shu Yan's eyes flickered. Something unreadable passed through them. Yuchen continued, voice steady. "You don't need their approval," he said. "You just need to stand beside me and not deny it." Another long silence. The tension in the room thickened. Then, Shu Yan suddenly stood up. He was taller than Yuchen by a head, his presence overwhelming at such a close distance. "You're either very smart or completely insane," he said slowly. Yuchen didn't step back. Both, maybe. For a moment, Shu Yan stared at him. Then, unexpectedly, he laughed. Low, rough, real. "Fine, let's see how far your plan goes." Yuchen exhaled quietly. The first step changed. Until the door burst open just as he predicted, voices flooded in, gasps, whispers, shock. Yuchen didn't panic. He stepped forward calmly. Shu Yan followed behind him, silent, steady, like a wall no one dared to cross. "They're together! How shameless!" Before the words could grow, Yuchen spoke, clear, firm. "There is no misunderstanding." The noise faltered. He lifted his chin slightly, voice unwavering. "We are already engaged." The courtyard fell into stunned silence. Eyes turned to Shu Yan, waiting, questioning. Shu Yan didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, standing at Yuchen's side, and said nothing. But his presence was answer enough. In that moment, fate split again. And this time, Shen Yuchen chose the path where neither of them would fall. The road back to the Shen family's rural house was long and uneven, dust rising with each step. Shen Yuchen walked ahead, his expression calm, sleeves brushing lightly against his sides. Behind him, Su Yang followed at an unhurried pace, hands in his pockets, gaze sharp as ever. The distance between them was neither close nor far, just enough to draw attention, just enough to make people whisper as they passed. And they did whisper. By the time they reached the courtyard gate, the rumors had already outrun them. The wooden door creaked open. Inside, the main hall was filled. His father sat at the head, back straight, face dark as storm clouds. Years of labor had carved deep lines into his skin, but his presence was still imposing, rigid with old traditions and unbending pride. His mother sat to the side, fingers clutching her sleeve, eyes red as if she had been crying. She looked up the moment Yuchen entered, lips parting slightly, wanting to speak, yet not daring to. His eldest sister leaned against a chair, one hand resting on her swollen belly, her expression complicated, worry mixed with helplessness. His eldest brother stood beside his wife, two small children clinging to her legs, peeking out curiously. The second brother, closest to Yuchen in age, stood with arms crossed, gaze sharp and judgmental. All of them, waiting. The moment Yuchen stepped fully into the hall, the tension snapped. A porcelain cup flew across the room. It shattered violently at his feet. "Kneel!"
His father's voice thundered through the house, shaking even the walls. Yuchen did not hesitate. He lowered himself to the ground, knees hitting the cold floor with a dull sound. In his past life, he had resisted, argued, cried, and made everything worse. This time, he simply knelt, silently. Behind him, Shu Yan's presence didn't move. The second brother's eyes flicked toward Shu Yan, his expression turning cold. "This is our family matter," he said sharply. "You should leave." The words carried both warning and disdain. A hooligan had no place here, no right to stand among them. For a moment, the air stilled. Everyone waited for Shu Yan to scoff, to turn, to walk away. Instead, a second, heavier sound echoed. Shu Yan bent his knees and knelt down beside Shen Yuchen. The entire hall froze. Even Yuchen's breath caught for a fraction of a second. Shu Yan's posture was casual as ever, yet his presence did not diminish even on his knees. He looked straight ahead, completely ignoring the stunned gazes around him. Before anyone could react, his voice rang out. "We're together." It was loud, blunt, unapologetic. Shock rippled through the room. "What nonsense!" the eldest brother snapped, but Shu Yan didn't let him finish. "I love him." Each word fell heavily, clear, definite. "At first, he didn't accept me," Shu Yan continued, his tone unwavering. "So I forced him." Yuchen's fingers tightened slightly against his knees. This man was twisting everything onto himself without hesitation. "If there's blame," Shu Yan said, finally turning his head slightly toward the father, eyes sharp and fearless, "it's mine." Silence. No one dared to interrupt. If you want to beat someone, he added, voice low but steady, beat me. The room fell completely still. The father's face darkened further, his chest rising and falling with suppressed anger. You dare, he began, voice shaking with fury. But before he could finish, Yuchen spoke. Father. It was the first time he had opened his mouth since entering, calm, soft, yet it cut through the tension like a blade. I agreed to it. The words landed like thunder. Shuyan's eyes flickered just for a second. The father stared at him in disbelief. What did you say? Yuchen lifted his head slightly, meeting his father's gaze directly. I agreed to it, he repeated. No fear, no hesitation. The second brother scoffed. You expect us to believe that? A Gare like you? I am still a member of this family, Yuchen said quietly, interrupting him. The hall went silent again. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight. I know what I'm doing. His mother's hands trembled slightly. Yuchen, she whispered, but stopped herself again. The eldest sister looked at him, her expression softening, a trace of understanding passing through her eyes. Shuyan, beside him, didn't speak again, but his presence remained, solid, unmoving, as if no matter what happened next, he would not step back. In that moment, under the heavy gaze of family, tradition, and judgment, Shen Yuchen did not bow his head, and for the first time, neither did Shuyan. The courtyard had not truly fallen asleep. The moment Shen Yuchen's door creaked open, a pair of eyes in the darkness shifted. His second brother stood beneath the shadow of the pillar, arms crossed, gaze following that slender figure as it slipped out of the house without hesitation. The faint moonlight caught the edge of Yuchen's sleeve before he disappeared beyond the gate. A long silence followed. Then, he went to find that man. The voice was low, but it carried. Inside the main hall, the oil lamp was still lit. No one had gone to bed. The eldest brother exhaled heavily, running a hand through his hair. I told you we should lock him inside. And make things worse? The sister-in-law replied, her voice hushed not to wake the children sleeping in the inner room. The second brother stepped inside, expression tight. Then what do we do? Let him ruin himself like this? At the head of the room, their father sat unmoving. The broken pieces of the teacup had already been swept away, but the anger from earlier still lingered thick in the air. His hands rested on his knees, rough fingers clenched slightly, knuckles pale. He doesn't understand, the second brother continued, unable to hold back. A Gare spending the night with a man is bad enough. Now he says they're engaged, and with someone like that? That man, the eldest sister interrupted softly, one hand resting protectively over her stomach, knelt beside him. Everyone fell silent for a moment.
Her voice was gentle, but steady. I saw it clearly, she continued. He wasn't afraid at all, even when father raised his hand. The eldest brother frowned. That doesn't change who he is. No, she agreed quietly, but it shows what he's willing to do. The mother, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. Her voice trembled slightly. Yuchen has changed. All eyes turned to her. She lowered her gaze, fingers tightening around the edge of her sleeve. Before, he would never kneel so quietly, she said. He would argue, shout, look at us like we were nothing. Her voice caught. But today, even when his father scolded him, he didn't say anything harsh. The room grew still, because it was true. The Shen Yuchen they had known these past months, cold, arrogant, distant, always looking down on them. But today, he had been different, too calm, too steady, as if something inside him had settled or hardened. The second brother frowned, clearly unwilling to accept it. So what? That doesn't mean he's right. No one said he was right, the eldest brother replied, voice low. But yelling at him won't fix anything either. Silence settled again, heavy, complicated. At the head of the room, the father finally moved. His voice, when it came, was rough. He said he agreed. The words were slow, as if each one weighed heavily. He admitted it himself. His gaze lifted slightly, staring at the empty doorway where Yuchen had left. He asked him to bow his head. Just once, I would have handled everything. But Yuchen had refused. Not with rebellion this time, but with quiet certainty. That refusal hurt more. The eldest sister looked at their father, her expression softening. Father, what if he truly means it? The father's brows furrowed deeply. You think this is something to take lightly? He snapped. Marriage is not a game. I know. That's why I'm saying, what if he's serious? Another silence. The idea hung in the air, heavy and uncertain. Serious? About someone like Suyan? It sounded absurd. And yet, the image of that man kneeling without hesitation refused to leave their minds. The mother's voice broke the stillness again. Even if it's true, she said carefully, we still have to think about what comes next. Her eyes moved from one family member to another. Yuchen's reputation, our family's standing, the village. Every word pointed to the same truth. This wasn't just about feelings. It was about survival.